Alright guys, so we're recording. I actually know what my opponent is playing. He's using the purple sleeves. This is my friend Ricky, and we're playing a match of Standard Magic the Gathering. One of the big things that people talked about in my last video was that life totals were difficult to determine. So I have me and you, me is me, and Ricky is you. So that should be really easy. I'm still playing my same Grixis list. Nothing has changed. We've cut decks, so I'm going to go ahead and lay out my 7 while he rolls dice to see who goes first. And he's rolled a 6. I rolled a 7, so I will get to go first. I know that he's playing a Reanimator deck, so I definitely want to go first. I'm on the play over here. I put P just to denote that. And our hand looks reasonable. It's not great since we know what our opponent is playing, but it's not terrible either. So this is totally fine.
Happy birthday, man.
I think that we're going to, well, first we're going to ask if you're keeping your hand. Alright, I'm going to lead with an Evolving Wilds, and it's your turn.
Take 2.
Yep. Our opponent goes to 18 because he's played a Temple Garden untapped and Deathrite Shaman, which is dangerous. Since we only have one source for this, we're going to go ahead and crack this at the end of your turn, and we're going to grab a Swamp. Swamp comes into play tapped, but I'm going to untap it during my turn. I have 2 lands by Chandra Free. I tried to mention that last video, but she is an artist who did the God Machine, and I really like my God Machine lands. Cut. Alright. So Deathrite Shaman is just a really good card, and it's dangerous in general, so we're trying to decide like how we want to get rid of it. And I don't think we're going to do anything about it this turn, sadly enough. So we're going to go ahead and play this island and pass it back. So we're sitting back on this. It's really all we can do right now. And that's 2 more mana, guys. That's really tough. Alright, so at the end of the turn I'm going to cast Think Twice. Alright. We'll draw for our turn. So we're not getting a ton of extra stuff, which is sad. And that Deathrite Shaman is going to be a real problem. So I feel like currently what we want to do, instead of putting pressure on, is this. And it's kind of a waste of our mana, but this was the only way to get it out untapped in time. So we're going to Dreadbore the Deathrite Shaman. This also prevents him from shenanigans with like our Evolving Wilds and ramping crazy fast. So it's your turn. Drinking in the video mask is really tough. Deathrite Shaman resolves.
Let me at least do this so I can see that.
Sure. I will take 2, go to 18. In Magic, if you're watching and you don't understand, the objective is to get your opponent to 0 life from 20 as quickly as possible, or have them run out of cards.
20 to 0.
So he keeps playing cards,
What's gonna happen?
and they're all pretty good, so we're in a little bit of trouble. I don't want him to eat my Think Twice or my Dreadbore, really, but he's not giving me a lot of choice, so we're going to tap out with the Grixis deck for Olivia Voldaren. And it's your turn. We could have done this, but it's not super pertinent when he's just going to reanimate huge threats.
Exile your land.
5 drop. Sweet.
7 drop.
7 drop and Angel of Serenity. So we're pretty near hosed at this point.
Target Deathrite and Olivia.
Alright, so you're going to exile Olivia and Deathrite Shaman.
I'll get your turn.
Yikes.
Why couldn't you do this at the GP?
I think this comes into play untapped. So I'll lose 2 life. Going to 16.
Yeah, okay. I took 2.
Temple Garden, you played untapped.
One day.
So at this point, I think that we do black like this and play Vampire Nighthawk, if for nothing other than to like provide a blocker for the Angel, and we'll pass it back. Yeah, those are tapped.
Exile your Think Twice, and you lose 2.
Yep. Think Twice is gone. Go to 14.
It's your turn.
End of turn, Desperate Ravings.
Yep.
Alright, so we're going to draw 2, and then we're going to discard 1 at random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are reroll. And we're going to lose a Counterflux. Sad. So now we have an answer to the Angel, which is nice. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get us back into the game, but we're definitely going to try. We're going to play Snapcaster Mage
Dreadbore.
and Dreadbore. So we'll do black-red like that.
Definitely goes to my hand.
Yep, I'll get Olivia back, and we're going to crash for 2 with the Nighthawk.
That's fine.
Alright, so Nighthawk has lifelink. So Ricky's going to lose 2, go to 16. I'm going to gain 2 and go back to 16. It's your turn.
Deathroot Shaman.
Man, it never ends.
Swing for 2.
I think we block the Arbor Elf here.
Okay.
And I'll take 1. Go to 15. I'm doing that exclusively so that my opponent has less mana,
It's your turn.
albeit not a lot less. At this point, flashing back things is a losing proposition because it's going to cost me mana, and then my opponent's just going to destroy whatever it is I do. This is definitely an option. I'm not sure if it's a good option, but we're going to try it. We may just want to tap out for this and go for the win. Or we could kill something with Olivia. I think that's actually the play. I think we tap 4 for Olivia Voldaren.
Okay.
We'll go to combat. We'll swing with Nighthawk for 2.
That's fine.
Alright. You go to 14. We go to 17. And we'll pass.
Oh, your Counterflux.
Alright. Counterflux is gone. And I lose 2. Go back down to 15. We'll try and use this marker. Oh no.
Angel.
Sure. Angel resolves.
Target your Nighthawk, Olivia, and my Angel.
In response, I think I'm not sure what we do here. I think that we play this with the exile trigger. No. Yeah, in response, we're going to Cyclonic Rift our Olivia.
Go ahead.
Never mind, we can't. It has to be a permanent we don't control.
Opponents.
So I guess with the trigger on the stack, we'll bounce your Angel and permanently exile these 3 cards.
Swing for 2.
And we'll go to 13.
It's your turn.
We're in lots of trouble. Alright, so this is an option.
Easy Mortis.
That would be sweet. We're going to Pillar Flame one of the Death Rites. And then, do we still have the mana available to do that? Yes. Blue, blue. Alright. We bounced the Angel, but the Angel's just going to come back next turn because it's a 7-drop, so we don't want to do this. We will
Not play the Niv Mizzet.
probably not play the Niv Mizzet that we've telegraphed our opponent. We're going to flashback Desperate Ravings while we still have the chance. So we can just do
1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1.
It's a 1. And we lose a Swamp. And I don't think we've played a land this turn. So we'll play a Mountain and pass. Thrag Tusk isn't fair. Our opponent gains 5 life off of Thrag Tusk.
Swing for.
And we will go to 12.
It's your turn.
So we can do this, but it's not super useful. It's one of the cards that will definitely be boarding out. In fact, I think that because of that, we want to loot house. And we'll loot house using all of our basics. So we'll draw a card, discard a card. We're discarding Liliana. And then we'll cast a Chromatic Lantern. And we're done.
We'll eat your Cyclonic.
Cyclonic Rift goes, and we go to 10.
I draw one card, I have game next turn. That was not it.
That sounds lucky for me. I'm not sure if we can come back anyway, but...
Swing for 5.
Alright, so we're going to go to 5. So we need an answer for Thragtusk other than the Draco Genius in our hand. Do we play this untapped? If we play this untapped, we only have one target left in our yard to lose life off of, but he can kill us with a swing. So we just play Niv Mizzet.
Yep.
And a Steam Vent's tapped. And we pass. Restoration Angel to blank Thragtusk. Alright. Oh, we totally lose. Yeah.
And I have Angel in hand too.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, what can I ping and draw that will... And the answer is nothing. So... I wouldn't worry about it. I can stand it up like this.
Are we siding or?
Yeah, we should sideboard. I think that makes you even better in the matchup, which is sad, but the videos aren't about me winning. They're about demonstrating Magic the Gathering gameplay, and Grixis is not super strong against Reanimator right now, especially your version. So, just like last time, I'm going to talk about how I sideboard and why. These are interesting because they remove things, but at the end of the day, like, we want to probably kill the Mana Dork, so maybe Pillar of Flame. Jace almost accelerates our opponent. We definitely want Rakdos Charm because it removes the graveyard. Negates are iffy. We'll kind of think about those. And Slaughter Games are almost always just awesome because we can get rid of Thragtusk or Angel, and Angel's the real blowout card. And if we can get it off early enough, we probably hit Burial Rites. Lilianas are just super dead in this matchup. There's no denying that. We want to get rid of all 3. They're very, very bad. We don't want to get rid of all of our early threats because they're pretty important. And it looks like we're looking for 3 more slots, possibly 2 if we want to get rid of other things. Syncopate is very good in the matchup, so we're going to keep that. Our opponent doesn't seem to be running Cavern. He could be boarding into those. Game runs long, but I want to keep Nicol Bolas because he's the only way to really dig us out of trouble once we're in it. Dreadbore is pretty slow removal. We want to keep some in. Mizzy Mortars is pretty good against a full team of Mana Dorks. I think we'll get rid of 1 Dreadbore. And maybe the Counterflux in lieu of Slaughter Games will handle things before they're an issue, hopefully. And we'll leave 1 Slaughter Games. I want to keep the Nighthawks in the deck just so that we have some way to, like, negate damage from Deathrite Shaman, as well as, like, have some aggression in the matchup before our opponent is playing bigger threats than we do. So, what'd you do? Do you want to tell me?
I don't have a problem doing it either way.
Sure.
First thing that comes out, removal.
Right.
Plays a very light creature base, so...
I mean, that's pretty correct.
Then second thing that comes out is Mana Dorks, because we know he's going to side in creature hate for Mana Dorks, and he's a slow deck, so I don't need to accelerate to beat his creature base. And the other thing that comes out is 1 Burial Rites. I know he's going to side in graveyard hate, and because of what we're siding in, we don't need as many graveyard recurrences. Sigarda,
Right, Sigarda's just a blowout against me. That's a really strong silver bullet.
It really beats his deck, and that's one of the reasons why this is coming out, because we don't have to focus on the reanimating plan post-board.
Gotcha.
3 Appetite for Brains. Appetite for Brains hits most of his deck and hits everything we worry about, which is Olivia, and if it comes down to it, Nicobolus. And then we have Abrupt Decays. Abrupt Decays handle his Mana Acceleration, which is Chromatic Lantern. They can handle Olivia's if he decides to keep, or Liliana's if he decides to keep them in. They also handle Snapcaster Mages at instant speed, which is pretty helpful. So.
Alright, so I love the way that you're boarding. I think it's really strong. Like, hopefully you get to see some of it during the game, because I think that your board almost makes your deck stronger than my board makes mine against you. I've kind of got a catch-all board, and since I'm like obviously hitting the Reanimator strategy, and you're like boarding into just not even so much ramp, just play bigger threats against a slow deck, I think that you should probably just win, which will be fine, but we will see. Alright, so I'm resetting the life totals, obviously, and I'm going to be on the play. Our opponent could expect that, because being on the play is a reasonably standard theme in Magic. Like, you do it in limited formats, and usually in like sealed formats, you do it in just about everything except for constructed when you're playing a really responsive control deck. And my Grixis deck is tap out style, so we're not too worried about that. The only way that I see myself winning this matchup is if like our opponent has to mulligan almost, and we can just win through card advantage. So my hand is keepable. I don't know about yours.
Mine's alright.
Alright, so we will lead with a swamp, and it's your go.
Your turn.
So this is our hand, and it's kind of a loose keep. We're hoping that we draw into action, and like that's one of the best possible draws we could have, so we're happy about that. We will play a Dragon Skull Summit and pass. Our opponent is playing lots of tapped shock lands. That's fine. Alright, so we'll draw, and this is almost worth playing because we can telegraph something, but instead I think we'll just play a Drown Catacomb and pass. So now we're sitting back on both of these cards, and this is what we have left. End of turn, we'd like to Forbidden Alchemy. So our alchemy is okay. It's not really ideal. If we take a look at our hand, I think we take the action, but lamentfully. So we're pitching 2 Sulphur Falls and a Dreadbore from our alchemy. And we'll go to our turn. Alright, so our opponent doesn't have counter magic, and we've got to think about like what we need to handle in his deck. So we're definitely casting a Slaughter Games this turn, and we've got to think about what we name. Thragtusk is an option, but Thragtusk doesn't happen next turn, and we have ways of handling it. I think we just handle like Sigarda before she blows us out. So we'll name Sigarda. Oh my god, if we'd called Restoration Angel, it would just be ridiculous. We no longer have to worry about Sigarda, but it looks like, given what our opponent's hand is, we're just going to die to a bunch of Restoration Angels. So I'm not sure how many Sigardas there are. Is there 2 or 3?
There's only 2, yeah.
Alright. So we also get to like look at our opponent's deck, and there's a Crater Hoof Behemoth, lots of Angels, and then the things that we know that he sideboarded into. There's still a reasonable amount of the Reanimator strategy, but we get none of his hand. A good practice is to like write down your opponent's hand, but I think I've got it at this point, so it's fine.
I mean, you can write it down.
Alright, what do we have? We've got 3 Restoration Angels, 3 Resto, in Unburial, Sun Petal, Forest, and an Abrupt Decay. We need to want to. That's stupid. We want to play around the Abrupt Decay now that we know that it exists as much as we possibly can. Alright, so that's our turn. Wow.
Nice.
Well, you get to see that my keep was super loose, but you don't get to take anything with your appetite. Alright, since you don't have something to write on, I'll just play with my hand revealed. That's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Alright. Is that it?
Yeah.
My Kingdom for Slaughter games. Okay, so we know that he has these cards, and the card that we've just drawn dodges Abrupt Decay. So we're going to tap out for it and hope that he doesn't draw an answer. And we tapped correctly. We're going to play Olivia and pass. Sun Petal?
Yeah.
Alright.
Your turn.
So we now have one mystery card, but mostly we just want to like stay out in front of our opponent. We have some aggression. It can't die to Abrupt Decay. And he knows we've got the Syncopate, but we want to sit back on it anyway. So we'll swing with Olivia.
That's fine.
Alright, our opponent goes to 17. And it's your go. Arranging the Lighthouse mana if I need it. Yep.
Your turn.
Alright, so end of turn. I think that we're going to activate our Lighthouse, which lets us draw a card and discard a card, and we'll probably discard Dreadboard just because it's really bad in the matchup, it seems. So these are all like interesting cards. I think that we'll play the Sulphur Falls, and we'll swing for 3 again.
Mm-hmm.
Puts our opponent at 14, and we'll pass.
Tusk.
So if we counter the Thragtusk, we can stay out in front. If we don't, we can ping it and take it this turn, which is fine. I think we can ping it and steal it. Yes, we have enough black mana. So we're going to let Thragtusk resolve. Our opponent will go to 19. And then that's actually my strategy. I'm going to ping it once with Olivia and steal it. This means that we get to untap with Thragtusk and swing with it, which negates the life gain, and it's better than wasting our Syncopate on something that we can handle otherwise. We might just play this. I drew Nicol Bolas. I'm not sure if that's what we do.
Well,
I think we're going to go to 18, and we're going to do what our deck does best, but that actually seems terrible, and I hate to do it because I feel like the Syncopate is the only thing keeping us alive at this point. So we're going to go ahead and swing for 9. Yikes. I'll put you at 10, and I'll pass. So we're threatening lethal next turn, assuming our Syncopate stops the Restoration Angels and whatever else is coming.
yeah, you got it.
Alright, so we'll go to game 3. So you drew the Angel, and you were just begging me to tap out for Nicol Bolas. Oh man, that's rough. Handling the Sigardas with the, I mean, there's a chance you just wouldn't have drawn into him, and it would have been really nice to like actually pull one out of your hand, but I feel like that's almost what I have to name every time.
I mean, I'm just not drawing. I haven't drawn any graveyard manipulation at all this entire game.
That's true.
Match.
Like,
I haven't drawn a single mulch or
I
a
know.
single Grizzly Salvage.
There are cards called Mulch and Grizzly Salvage, which would let Ricky like rip cards off of the top of his library and put them in the graveyard. So like his ideal draw is to mulch into an Angel, or like, what's another really good target? Even like
Behemoth.
Craterhoof Behemoth would be good. And then Unburial Rites it on turn 3 or 4 because of a mana accelerant. So Ricky obviously gets to be on the play. We can expect that. And like, theoretically he could next level us, but we're not Patrick Chapin, so we don't next level magic our opponents. Alright. So our slaughter games become infinitely worse on the draw, but we have to keep them in because, again, it's like the only way we handle Sigarda. We have no other answers.
Alright, I'm good.
So I feel like we keep this hand and we either win or lose based on... No, I can't do that to my viewers. I have a one-land hand, and like...
Would it have gotten there?
Oh my god.
Okay, no.
Maybe.
No. You missed the crucial land drop.
I don't know if I do.
Turn 3.
I play this.
So you miss your Forbidden Alchemy on curve.
Alright, look at this. I can put them back in order. Check it out. Turn 1.
Like, I know what happens.
Turn 1, I draw.
Mm-hmm.
I play Dragon Skull Summit tapped. Turn 2, I draw. I play an island. I'm not off curve. Then turn 3,
You're off curve.
I play another island.
You're on the draw. That's correct.
Yes. But, like, otherwise it's rough. Oh, man. Alright, so we'll go to 6. When you mulligan, you're allowed to put back your original hand and take one less card than whatever it is you had. So since you draw 7 in your opener, you go to 6, then 5, then 4. And since my hand didn't really have a set 4 strategy, I decided to mulligan it. And what we just did is we decided if it would have gotten there, which means, like, could I just draw consistent lands to dig my way out of it? And the answer was, like, sort of kind of yes, but not really, because eventually we'd stumble. And this hand has, like, a very different problem with it, but we're already on 6, so we definitely don't want to go any lower, so we're going to keep it. Arbor Elf. Alright. So we're drawing action at least. That's fine. Evolving Wilds, and it's your go. Yep. Alright.
There we go.
So this is the graveyard manipulation. Mulch is going to let him take cards and put lands in his hand and other things in the graveyard.
All
Luckily...
hands go to my hand.
Yeah, luckily he didn't hit anything that, like, reanimates for crazy. Crack Evolving Wilds, grab a swamp.
Mm-hmm.
You might even grab the Chandra Free Swamp, whichever one comes up first. Nope, Marksec.
Sad, Chandra, sad.
Probably. I passed by her mountain on the way there.
She's gonna watch it later and be upset.
I doubt that Chandra Free will watch a Magic the Gathering gameplay video that's likely going to be 30 minutes long or so. Okay, and we draw, and that's not a bad draw at all. So we play a Drowned Catacomb and hope that he taps out. It's your go.
Take 2.
Yep. Opponent goes to 18 off his land.
Thragtusk.
I don't actually have the Syncopate. Sad. Thragtusk resolves on... Is this turn 3?
Yes.
You disgust me.
Okay,
Alright.
worse.
23. And he has a Thragtusk in play, so
It's
we're
your
just
turn.
in a lot of trouble. Man, where was that last turn?
I was not lying when I said you wouldn't win with the other hand.
Probably not.
Because this was opening hand.
Yikes.
Except I hit the Temple Garden off Mulch.
So we play the island so that we can play this next turn on curve. And we power out the Nighthawk in the hopes that we can staunch the bleeding. It's your go.
Right.
If he has a Restoration Angel, we probably just lose here.
Better yet. I was using the Thragtusk to bait out the Syncopate there. Or
Gotcha.
I believe Beltol's.
So we actually can't block the Thragtusk because then we're just dead to Sigarda. So we go to 15.
Your turn.
Overloading this is another thing that we can do. It's not great, but, like, we don't have a lot of great plays at this point.
You'll lose before you can overload Cyclonic.
That's very possible. So we try and slow him down way too late by Pillar of Flaming. And we pass. We're sitting back on this at this point and, like, hoping that we dig into an answer. Or maybe just lands.
Mulch.
Yep. So our opponent will never miss a land drop. And there's a Thragtusk in the graveyard. Hooray!
Swing it, balls of fire. Swing.
Alright, we're gonna go to 10. This Thragtusk is killing us softly.
Your turn.
Forbidden Alchemy. So we know that Abrupt Decay is a thing, so we're definitely not taking the Lantern. This doesn't do a whole lot for us. Sadly, it's usually almost always what we want to take. And I feel like it's just not going to get there. It's not fast enough. So we'll probably pitch the Sulphur Falls and the Snapcaster, and we're taking a mystery card.
While you're tapped out, we're going to Restoration Angel, Blink Thragtusk.
Oh, we're probably dead now. So
Battlefield trigger happens.
Yeah, it happens. 28, and you get a beast.
Your turn.
That's definitely not what we needed to stay in this game. Trying to think if there's any way we can dig ourselves out. Shouldn't have tapped out. Play the Blood Crypt tapped. I think that our best line of play is to sever the Thragtusk. I'm not sure if we live through this. Because you're going to get another beast, and you're going to be able to swing with the team. I mean, that's our turn. It's your go. If we could just dump our hand onto the board, we'd be in good shape, but that's definitely game, man. So resolving Angel of Serenity just blows us out entirely. We had to take those Thragtusk hits because we couldn't leave the Nighthawk. Add 6, 5, so...
That's 14.
Yeah. We're super dead, but we wanted to play all 3 games of the match, which is nice. We got to win at least 1 game. That's Grixis Control versus Reanimator. It's an embarrassing matchup, apparently. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope that this way of doing life made things more clear, and I hope that everything was easier to see and hear because my opponent's much closer than the tables at my local card shop. So thanks for watching.